All right, so today we're diving into prepping for a wire weaving machine operator interview.
Definitely a cool job.
It is. And we've got some great resources from RoleCatcher to help us out here.
We do.
We've got their career guides and interview guides
Mhm.
and even some insights into their AI tools.
Yeah, those are going to be really useful for our listeners.
Definitely. So our mission today is to give you, the listener, the knowledge and the confidence to really just nail this interview.
I like it. Think of this as like your secret weapon.
Exactly.
We're not only going to tell you what they'll ask, but
Right.
how to answer these questions in a way that's going to make you stand out.
Yeah, that's the key. Stand out from all the other candidates.
Okay.
Okay, so first,
Yeah.
what does a wire weaving machine operator even do?
So basically, they create woven wire cloths. They're like the metal mesh that's used in all sorts of industries.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you see it in filtration systems, aerospace components, all kinds of things. A very precise job, lots of machinery involved.
So it's like a blend of precision and machinery and almost like a little artistry, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a real art to it.
I can see that. And the RoleCatcher Career Guide actually mentioned that the demand for these operators is increasing.
It is, yeah.
So that's good news for anybody out there thinking about this career,
It's a great time to be looking at this field.
for sure. But before we jump into the nitty-gritty of those interview questions,
Yeah.
I want to touch on something else from RoleCatcher, their AI tools.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me a bit more about how those can give somebody an edge in this job market.
So imagine this. Their AI can actually scan job descriptions and compare them to your resume,
Okay.
and it will actually flag any skills that you might be missing.
Oh, that's useful.
Super useful. And it even goes a step further and suggests improvements
Really?
to your resume. So that way it really stands out to recruiters.
So it's almost like having a personalized career advisor, but it's AI.
Exactly. It's like having this AI career advisor in your pocket.
That's pretty awesome. Now, does it help with the interview process at all?
It does. It can actually help tailor your cover letter.
Oh, wow.
And it even provides practice and feedback on your interview answers.
So it's almost like a mock interview with AI.
Pretty much. It's like
Okay.
having this virtual mock interview with personalized feedback.
That's amazing.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get to the heart of it,
Okay.
the interview itself. RoleCatcher provided 10 common interview questions for wire weaving machine operators.
Okay.
And we're going to break each one down, explain what the interviewer is really looking for, and give you the tools to create some winning responses.
Awesome.
Are you ready to dive in?
Let's do it.
All right, so question number 1. Tell us about your experience with wire weaving machines.
Yeah, sounds simple, right?
It does sound pretty straightforward, but I'm guessing it's more to it than that.
You're right. They might phrase it that way, but what they really want to assess is your practical knowledge. They want to see that you've actually worked with these machines, not just that you know about them in theory.
So instead of just listing jobs you've had, it's more about showcasing those skills in action,
Exactly.
like actually what you did.
Yeah. Talk about specific tasks,
Hmm.
challenges that you overcame, how your skills developed, maybe even mention some specific machine models that you've worked on.
Oh, yeah, good point. Because the RoleCatcher Career Guide did mention different types of machines,
Yeah.
like Dornier and Schleifring.
Right. So if you have experience with those, definitely mention them.
Yeah, it shows you your stuff.
It does. And also, if you've worked on various machines or, any computer-controlled system,
Oh.
highlight that. Shows you're adaptable and you're keeping up with the times.
Yeah, you're not afraid of new technology.
Exactly.
So let's say you worked at XYZ Manufacturing.
Okay.
What would be like a strong response to this question?
You could say something like, in my previous role at XYZ Manufacturing, I was responsible for setting up and operating 2 Dornier wire weaving machines. I handled tasks like loading materials, calibrating those tension settings, and even troubleshooting some minor mechanical issues.
Oh, wow.
This experience really helped me hone my precision, my attention to detail, and my problem-solving skills.
See, that's concise. It's impactful.
Mm-hmm.
It really highlights what you did.
And that's what they want to hear.
Yeah. Now, RoleCatcher's AI can actually help refine this answer even more for specific job descriptions, right?
Right. It can suggest adding details like the types of wire cloth you produced
Okay.
or specific challenges that you overcame, and that way it's tailored to each job that you apply for.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of follow-up questions do you think they might ask after a response like that?
So they might dig a little deeper into a specific challenge you mentioned. They might say, what was the most complex project you handled on those machines?
Oh,
To be ready with a good example.
okay. So be prepared to elaborate.
Exactly.
All right. On to question number 2. How do you ensure the quality of the wire mesh you produce?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. I feel like attention to detail is probably key here.
It is. This question is all about your understanding of quality control.
Hmm.
They want to know that you're not just operating the machine, but you actually care about making a good product.
Right. So it's about going beyond just like, going through the motions.
Yeah.
It's about really monitoring the process and making sure the final product is up to standard.
Exactly. And it's also a good opportunity to show off your knowledge of the wire mesh itself.
Right.
They might ask about your experience with different weave patterns, like a plain weave or a twill weave.
Oh, those are good things to know.
Yeah, you definitely need to know those terms.
And the RoleCatcher Career Guide also mentioned working with different alloys and metals.
Yes.
Is that something that would be relevant to mention here?
Definitely. You can explain how you adjust those machine settings based on the material to achieve the desired quality. For example, weaving stainless steel is going to be different from weaving copper.
Right. Each material has its own quirks.
Yeah.
So a good answer here shows that you know not only the machine, but you know the materials as well.
Right. You've got the whole package.
You've got, okay, so what would a strong response to this question sound like?
Okay, so you could say, I ensure quality by following a multi-step process. I start by inspecting the raw materials for any defects.
Makes sense.
Then I very carefully verify all the machine settings, ensuring that they're calibrated for that specific wire gauge and weave pattern, like the plain weave, twill weave, all that.
Got it.
Now, during the actual weaving process, I'm continuously monitoring for any irregularities.
Yeah.
And I'll make adjustments as needed.
You got to be on top of it.
You do.
Yeah.
And finally, I inspect that finished mesh and make sure it meets all those quality specifications.
That's very thorough.
It is.
You've covered all the bases.
Gotta be thorough.
Now, what kind of follow-up question could they ask to really test your knowledge on this?
Oh, they might ask about a specific quality control tool that you use.
Oh, okay.
Or they might say something like, how would you handle a situation where the wire mesh doesn't meet specifications?
Oh.
Yeah, so be ready to explain your process.
Okay, so again, be prepared to elaborate.
Yes.
All right, let's move on to question number 3. How do you troubleshoot common issues with wire weaving machines?
Now we're getting technical.
Yeah, this one goes straight to those technical skills.
Yeah, this is all about your problem-solving abilities.
Mm-hmm.
They want to know, can you identify the root cause of the problem,
Right.
and can you fix it?
So you have to not only know how to run the machine, but you have to understand how it works.
Exactly. They want to see that you can think critically and act decisively when problems arise.
Yeah, so I guess having a few examples of common issues and how you've tackled them would be helpful here.
Oh, definitely. Think back to your experience. What were some common problems?
Right.
Maybe a broken wire, a tension issue, a problem with the feeding mechanism. Have those examples ready to go?
Yeah. So let's say you encountered a broken wire. How would you walk them through your troubleshooting process?
I'd say something like this. Wire breakage is a pretty common issue. When it happens, my first step is to stop the machine.
Right. Safety first.
Exactly. Safety first.
Yeah.
I isolate that breakpoint, inspect the wire. If the wire itself is faulty, I replace the spool. I'll also check those tension settings. If the tension's off, I'll adjust it accordingly. Finally, I restart the machine and monitor everything closely.
So it's a step-by-step methodical approach.
Exactly.
You don't want to skip any steps.
Nope.
Okay. What kind of follow-up questions might they ask you after that kind of response?
Okay, so they could ask about a time you had a really challenging problem
Okay.
that required some creative thinking to solve. Or they might say, tell me about a time you had to collaborate with others to find a solution.
So be ready for those teamwork questions as well.
Exactly. They want to see how you work with others.
Okay. Now, question number 4 takes a slightly different angle. How do you prioritize tasks when operating multiple wire weaving machines?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. So this seems to be more about time management and organizational skills.
It is.
Right.
This is all about your multitasking abilities in a fast-paced environment. Could you handle multiple machines?
Right.
Keep that quality up.
And not just speed, but it's about being strategic.
Yes.
And organized.
Absolutely. They want to see you can assess the urgency of tasks, allocate your time wisely, and keep everything running smoothly.
Without sacrificing quality.
Exactly. It's a balancing act.
It is. Think back to those situations where you were juggling multiple machines.
Yeah.
How did you stay organized? What were your strategies?
I have those ready to go.
Yeah, because they're going to ask you about it.
They are.
Okay, so let's say you were running 3 machines,
Okay.
each producing a different type of wire mesh.
All right.
How would you explain your approach to prioritizing tasks in that scenario?
I would say something like this. When I'm running multiple machines, I prioritize based on deadlines, potential downtime, and any bottlenecks. I review the production schedule for each machine, and I take note of any urgent orders.
Hmm.
I then check for any signs of potential issues that could cause
Right,
delays.
like preventative maintenance almost.
Exactly. If a machine needs maintenance, I prioritize that to minimize any downtime.
All right.
And throughout the day, I'm monitoring all the machines, making adjustments, troubleshooting as needed to make sure that workflow stays smooth.
That really shows you're thinking ahead and you're managing your time effectively.
Yes.
What kind of follow-up questions do you think you should be prepared for here?
So they might ask, describe a situation where you had to juggle multiple demands,
Okay.
or how do you delegate tasks or collaborate to make sure everything gets done on time?
Oh, so again, those teamwork questions can come up.
They can definitely come up.
All right. So moving on to question number 5. How do you maintain and clean wire weaving machines?
Ooh, keeping things tidy?
Yes. This one seems to be more focused on diligence and work ethic,
Yes.
rather than just like the technical skill.
Right. It's all about showing that you understand preventative maintenance and its importance.
Yeah. And its impact on, the performance of the machines.
Yeah, and the quality of the product.
Exactly.
They want to know you're proactive about keeping those machines in tip-top shape.
So they're looking for somebody who takes pride in their workspace and understands that a well-maintained machine is going to be a productive machine.
Exactly. And remember, these machines can be complex.
Oh, yeah,
So a solid maintenance routine is crucial.
definitely. So think back to your experience.
Mm-hmm.
What were those key tasks? Lubricating, cleaning.
Inspecting components,
Yeah.
all of that.
Have those answers ready to go.
All right, so let's say they ask about your cleaning process specifically.
Okay?
How would you explain it in a way that highlights your meticulous approach?
All right. I'd say something like, I follow a strict cleaning schedule to keep these machines running their best. At the end of each shift, I clear out any debris using a brush and compressed air.
Then I wipe down all the surfaces with a specialized cleaning solution to get rid of any grease buildup.
Okay.
Weekly, I do a more thorough cleaning.
Oh, wow.
I disassemble and clean those weaving mechanisms and inspect for any wear and tear.
Oh, that's going the extra mile.
You got to do it. I also lubricate all the moving parts according to the manufacturer's guidelines.
Now, that level of detail really shows that you understand that a clean machine is a happy machine.
A clean machine is a productive machine.
Exactly.
That's what you want to get across.
What follow-up questions do you think could come up here?
They might ask about a specific maintenance task or
Okay.
maybe a tool that you use. They might even give you a hypothetical malfunction.
Oh, like a what-if situation.
Exactly, and ask you to troubleshoot it.
Okay.
They might also be interested in your experience with documenting those maintenance procedures and keeping records.
So be ready for all of that.
Be prepared.
All right. Let's shift gears to question number 6. How do you ensure the safety of yourself and others when operating wire weaving machines?
Oh, safety is huge.
Yeah, this is all about emphasizing your commitment to a safe work environment.
It is, and it goes beyond just your own personal safety.
Mhm.
They want to know that you're thinking about everyone's safety.
You're responsible.
Exactly. So be diligent about those protocols.
Right.
Proactively identify and address any hazards.
Yeah, because safety should always be the number 1 priority.
Absolutely. And remember, the RoleCatcher Career Guide mentioned that the work environment could be noisy.
Right.
You might need hearing protection, maybe even other safety gear, depending on the task.
So it's not just about knowing the safety rules. It's about applying them to that specific environment.
Exactly. Tailor your answer to that specific job.
Okay. If they ask about your safety protocol,
Mm-hmm.
what's like a really strong response that showcases your dedication to safety?
I would say safety is my top priority when I'm operating these machines.
Okay.
Before I even start, I do a thorough safety check. I inspect all the components, make sure the guards are in place and they're working. I always double check that emergency stop button.
Good idea.
You never know when you might need it. And of course, I wear all the appropriate PPE,
Right.
safety glasses, earplugs, steel-toed boots, the whole 9 yards.
Got to be protected.
Yeah. Now, during operation, I maintain a safe distance from any moving parts, and I never clear jams while the machine's running.
Never. Never.
Good rule. It's a good rule. I also keep my workspace clean and organized.
Right. To prevent trips and falls.
Exactly. And if I see any potential hazards, I report them to my supervisor right away, and I take steps to mitigate that risk.
So you're proactive about it.
You gotta be.
You're not just waiting for something to happen.
No, you gotta prevent it from happening in the first place.
That's great. Now, what follow-up questions do you think could come up here?
They might ask you to describe a specific safety incident
Okay.
that you encountered and how you handled it. Or they might ask about your safety training and certifications.
Okay, so have those ready.
Have those ready.
All right. So on to question number 7, which is all about continuous learning. They ask, how do you stay up to date with the latest trends and technologies in wire weaving machine?
Oh, good one.
Yeah. This is about showing that you're committed to growing in this field.
It is. They want to see that you're curious, you're willing to learn new things.
And you're not just content with where you are right now.
Exactly. This industry is constantly evolving, so you got to stay ahead of the curve.
You got to keep learning.
Yeah. And remember, the RoleCatcher Career Guide mentioned those industry conferences and workshops.
Oh, yeah?
Those are great examples to share.
Yeah.
Show that you're actively participating in the industry.
You're engaged.
You're engaged.
And what about online resources?
Yeah. Online resources are fantastic.
Are there any websites or publications that are really valuable for this?
There are tons. Definitely subscribe to industry magazines or follow some relevant online forums and blogs.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, and don't forget to mention any online courses or certifications you've taken related to wire weaving or manufacturing in general.
Those are all great examples.
They are. They show that you're really invested in your career.
Yeah. So how would you craft a response to this question that really highlights your dedication to continuous learning?
I would say I'm really passionate about staying up to date in this field.
Okay.
I regularly attend industry events like the International Wire and Cable Trade Show
Yeah.
to learn about the latest advancements. I subscribe to publications like Wire and Cable Technology International.
Okay.
I follow online forums where industry experts share their insights.
Yeah.
And recently, I even completed an online certification program on advanced wire weaving techniques.
Oh, wow. See, that is a well-rounded answer.
You got to show them you're doing it all.
Yeah. You're covering all your bases.
Yeah.
What kind of follow-up questions might they ask to kind of probe your knowledge further?
They might ask you to elaborate on a specific conference or a new technology that really excites you. Or they might even be interested in any personal projects you've done to learn even more.
Oh, yeah. Those personal projects can really stand out.
They show that you're going above and beyond.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to question number 8. How do you optimize production efficiency when operating wire weaving machines?
Okay. Efficiency time.
Yes. So this seems to be all about maximizing that output and minimizing downtime.
It is.
Right.
They're assessing your understanding of those production processes and your ability to make improvements.
Yeah, they want to know if you're proactive in finding ways to make things run better.
Exactly. So don't be afraid to show them that you're always thinking about improving things.
Yeah, you're a problem solver.
A problem solver.
And you're always thinking about how to make things more efficient.
You got it.
Now remember, the RoleCatcher Career Guide did highlight how advancements in technology have actually boosted efficiency in this field.
Yes.
So if you have experience with those, definitely bring those into your answer.
For sure. Show them you're up on the latest.
Okay, so let's say they ask you to describe a specific time you optimized production efficiency.
Okay.
What would be a strong response that showcases your problem-solving skills?
I would say in my previous role, we had frequent downtime due to machine jams.
Oh, no.
Yeah, those are no fun. They were caused by inconsistent wire feed.
Go.
So to address this, I collaborated with the maintenance team.
Good idea.
Yeah, you got to work together. And we implemented a new wire tensioning system,
Wow.
which significantly reduced wire breakage and jams. This led to a 15% increase in output
Wow, that's impressive.
and a 10% reduction in material waste.
You quantified it.
Exactly.
You put numbers to it.
Numbers matter.
They do. And it shows you're thinking about not just like the problem, but the impact.
Exactly.
What kind of follow-up questions could they ask to assess your understanding of efficiency further?
They might ask about your experience with lean manufacturing principles.
Okay.
Or other process improvement methodologies. Or they might even ask about your ability to analyze data and identify trends.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's all connected.
Okay, question number 9 shifts gears a bit to problem solving. They ask, can you describe a time when you had to troubleshoot a complex issue with a wire weaving machine?
Ooh, this is your time to shine.
Yeah, this is where you can showcase your expertise.
Think back to those challenging situations. Did a machine malfunction in a really unexpected way?
Uh-oh.
Or did you have to improvise a solution? Choose a story that really highlights those problem-solving skills.
Yeah, because you want to show them you can handle those tough situations.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's say you face a situation where a machine was producing inconsistent weave patterns.
Oh, those are tricky.
Yeah. So how would you describe your troubleshooting process in a way that highlights your technical expertise?
Okay, so I would say I remember a situation where one of our machines was producing inconsistent weave patterns.
Mm-hmm.
So after inspecting it, I discovered that the problem was a worn-out guide roller in the weaving mechanism. Now, this roller maintains tension on the wire, and the wear had caused a misalignment.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so to fix this, I consulted the machine's manual to get those correct specifications.
Right.
Then I worked with the maintenance team to order a replacement, and I even helped with the installation.
Good team player.
Gotta be. And after installing that new roller, I calibrated the machine,
Right.
and I ran some tests just to make sure those patterns were consistent and they met those specifications.
That shows you understand the technical aspects of the machine,
Yep.
and you took a very methodical approach.
Exactly.
You didn't just jump in.
Nope. Step by step.
Now, what follow-up questions do you think could come up here?
They might ask you to describe a time you had to improvise a solution,
Oh, yeah.
maybe because of limited resources or time constraints. Or they might say, how would you approach a similar problem but using a different troubleshooting technique?
Oh.
So be ready to think on your feet.
And they could also ask about your documentation practices for problems and solutions.
Yes. They want to see that you can keep good records.
So everything's organized.
Exactly.
Okay, we've reached the final question in this set. How do you ensure the wire mesh produced meets customer specifications?
Ooh, this one's a big one.
Yeah, this seems crucial
It is.
because it shows your dedication to quality and customer satisfaction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all about your attention to detail,
Mm.
your ability to follow instructions, and your understanding of those customer expectations.
So it's not just about running the machine, it's about understanding that bigger picture.
Absolutely. You're part of a team,
Yeah,
and you're working to meet those end user needs.
right. You're making a product that somebody's going to use.
Exactly.
So think back to your experience.
Mhm.
How did you ensure that wire mesh met those specific requirements?
Have those examples ready.
Yeah. Did you review the order specifications really carefully? Did you do quality checks? Did you communicate with the customer?
No, those.
Now I'm ready to go. All right. So how would you explain this process of ensuring the wire mesh meets those specifications
Yeah.
in a way that really emphasizes your commitment to quality?
I would say this. My process starts with understanding the customer's needs. I thoroughly review those specifications.
Okay.
I look at the wire gauge, weave pattern, dimensions, any special requirements, and then I communicate with the customer
Okay.
to clarify any questions or concerns. That way I really understand what they're looking for.
You're on the same page.
We're on the same page.
That's it.
Now, during production, I conduct those regular quality checks.
Mm-hmm.
I use precision tools to verify the dimensions,
Right.
and I inspect the weave to make sure it's consistent and accurate.
Okay.
Finally, before we ship anything, I do a final inspection just to guarantee it meets all those requirements and there are no defects.
So you're doing checks throughout the whole
It's
process.
a whole process.
Yeah.
And that's important because it shows you're dedicated to quality.
Yeah. And you said something interesting. You said, I believe attention to detail and a commitment to quality are essential for building strong customer relationships.
Absolutely. They want to see that you're thinking about the customer.
Yeah.
You're not just looking about the machine.
It's all connected.
It is.
What kind of follow-up questions might they ask you to dig into this even further?
Okay, so they might say, tell us about a time you went above and beyond to meet a customer-specific need.
Oh,
Or they might ask about how you handle customer complaints or feedback.
ooh, good one.
Yeah, so have those stories ready.
Yeah, so be prepared to talk about those maybe trickier situations as well.
Right. And they might also ask about your ability to work independently and really take ownership of that quality control process.
So they're looking for someone who's responsible and reliable.
Exactly.
They can trust you to get the job done.
They can trust you to get it done right.
So it's all about showing them you are dedicated to producing high-quality work
Yes.
that exceeds those customer expectations.
Let that passion for quality shine through and you'll be golden.
Yeah, they'll see that you're the right person for the job.
Absolutely. Ooh, we just went through a lot of information there.
We did. We really covered those 10 questions in detail.
Yeah, those are some tough questions.
They are.
Yeah.
And you gave our listeners some really good advice.
Well, hopefully it helps them feel more prepared.
Definitely. But before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I want to circle back to the work environment itself.
Okay.
What is it actually like to be a wire weaving machine operator?
Oh, yeah, good point. Because, the RoleCatcher Career Guide,
Yeah,
it gave us a pretty good picture.
it did. So what's it like?
So you're most likely going to be working in a manufacturing facility,
Okay.
often a large one,
Okay.
and it can get pretty noisy in there.
Oh, so I guess hearing protection is important.
Hearing protection is a must,
Okay.
and you might even need other safety gear, depending on what you're doing.
So it's not exactly a quiet desk job.
No, not really. But you're working with your hands. You're operating these cool machines.
Yeah.
You're seeing raw wire turn into these intricate cloths.
It's very hands-on.
It is, and there's a real sense of accomplishment in that.
Okay. I can see the appeal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what about growth potential?
Oh, yeah.
Like, is this a job with room for advancement?
Absolutely. As you gain experience, you could move into supervisory roles,
Okay.
maybe training new operators. You could specialize in a particular type of wire cloth or machine.
I become the expert in that one thing.
Exactly. You could even transition into machine maintenance.
Oh, wow.
Become that go-to person for keeping everything running smoothly.
So many possibilities.
Lots of options.
Yeah. Now, the career guide also emphasized the importance of continuous learning.
Yeah.
Why is that so crucial in this field?
Because technology is always changing.
Mm-hmm.
New materials are always coming out. So
Right.
you have to stay curious and keep learning to be successful.
Yeah. It's interesting how the skills that we talked about today, problem solving, attention to detail, even
Yeah.
that emphasis on safety,
Yeah,
those are all transferable to other roles too.
absolutely. So this is not just about prepping for this one interview.
Right.
It's about equipping yourself with skills for a whole career in manufacturing.
Yeah, you could really go places.
You could.
Okay, so speaking of thriving in this field, I want to touch back on RoleCatcher's AI
Okay.
and specifically those feedback capabilities.
Yeah, those are cool.
Can you elaborate on how they can be used to improve answers, like specifically for this role?
So imagine practicing your answers
Okay.
and then having the AI analyze your video.
Oh, wow.
It can give you insights on your tone,
Okay.
your pacing, even your body language.
So it's like having a personal interview coach.
It really is. It helps you present your best self.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
It can definitely boost your confidence.
definitely. But, even with all the best prep,
Yeah.
you're probably still going to have some nerves.
Oh, yeah. Interview jitters are normal.
They are. It's about managing those nerves and letting your true self shine through.
Right. Just being authentic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to remembering why you're excited about this opportunity.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Tap into that passion,
Yeah.
for working with your hands, for problem solving, for building things.
Yeah, let that enthusiasm come out.
Yeah. Because that's what the interviewer is going to see.
Exactly. The real you.
They want to know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, you mentioned some potential follow-up questions.
Oh, yeah?
For each of those 10 main questions,
Yeah.
why was that important to think about?
Because it helps you anticipate what they might ask next.
Oh, okay.
And once you understand what they're looking for,
Right.
you can tailor your responses even better.
So it's about getting inside the interviewer's head,
Exactly.
understanding their perspective.
You got it.
And that way, you're not just answering the questions.
Mm-hmm.
You're really having a conversation.
Yes. It's about that whole conversation.
So what does all of this mean for our listeners out there getting ready for their interview?
Well, it means they're in a really good spot. We've talked about what the role involves. We've just...
Are you fascinated by the manufacturing process as a whole? Maybe you want to explore other areas within that.
There are so many options.
There are. So think about that. And when you go into that interview, be prepared to share those goals with enthusiasm
Definitely. Let that passion show.
because it shows you're committed and it helps the interviewer see how you might fit into their company's future.
It paints a picture of you in that role long term.
Exactly. So we've covered so much in this deep dive, but the most important thing to remember is this. You got this.
You absolutely do. You've got the knowledge, the skills, and the drive to succeed.
So go out there and show them what you're made of. We're rooting for you.
We are